here we go. We start on a Thursday night, and it's a beauty. Thursday, October 27th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. We have Baltimore Ravens 4-3, 2-1 on the road. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-4, 1-2 at home. We're at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. 72 Fahrenheit clear, 4 miles per hour is the wind. Let's start with the line history. First off, neither team has been good to their backers this year. You're probably just hearing the names of these teams angry. They've combined over their last 9 to go 0-8-1 against the spread. And watching the Buccaneers fall apart has been wildly entertaining. And I don't know what to do with this spot. Buccaneers open -1. They're now +1. These are pinnacle openers. This total opened up at 43.5. It's now 45.5. The look ahead last week was Tampa Bay -3. In the summer, it was -4. And now we're sitting here with the home Buccaneers as a dog. It's crazy. Let's take a look at where the cash lies for the Thursday nighter. 13,706 tickets in already. 79% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on the Baltimore Ravens. Then 51% of the tickets, 53% of the cash on the over. That's not a lot of money or cash or tickets on the over for it to climb the way it's climbed. 2 points. 2 points. Spenny Penny Bombs ready to go. There's Nut Flush Allen. DC Sports Break says watching Bucs fail has been very entertaining. Sky Dragon says Brady needs nap time. Spenny Penny Bomb says Mark Andrews hasn't practiced yet this week, and this game is on Thursday. There's Viper MB ready to rock with us. So this Baltimore team comes in off yet another game where the Sharps were all over them, and they failed to cover in their 23-20 home win over the Browns. It was a spot where my recency bias of losing with them against the Giants kept me off what would have been another loss. They almost failed to protect yet another fourth quarter lead. They've blown a double-digit lead in the second half in all 3 of their losses this year. This was the first game all year Baltimore didn't score first, and the first time the Ravens allowed any points on an opponent's first possession. Lamar Jackson was just 9 of 16 through the air for a paltry 120 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Did run 10 times for 59 yards. Rashad Bateman caught 4 passes for 42 yards. Devin Duvernay caught 2 for 42. Only 4 players had catches. Gus Edwards made his return from injury. It was great to see him back on the field. He missed all of last season in the first 6 games of this one with a major knee injury. He ran 16 times for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it was his first game since January 16th, 2021. Their defense was strong. Pass rush, 5 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. They held the Browns' dangerous running game to 113 yards. The Ravens have both of their starting corners, Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey, questionable, along with defensive end Calais Campbell. All 3 are questionable. The Buccaneers come in off their low point in the Tom Brady era, a 21-3 loss at Carolina for their 3rd loss in 4 games. Brady hasn't had a losing record this far into the season since the 2002 Patriots. That's a long time ago. Brady has never been under 500 after 8 games. He was 32 of 49 for 290 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Mike Evans caught 9 passes for 96 yards. He missed that easy touchdown catch on the game's first drive. I knew I was in trouble when I saw that. Something just didn't feel right, and I had the Bucs first half, and that first half didn't move. I knew when it didn't move, I was in trouble. I wish I had the wherewithal to say, look, I've got to buy out of this. Because the full game went from 11 to 13, and there was still -7s at -110. It went to 13.5, and there was still -7s at -110. And Mike Evans is bothered by an ankle injury right now. There's a ton of injuries with this squad, and we'll go over them. Russell Gage dealing with an ankle injury as well. We know that Cameron Brate's been out with a neck injury. Julio Jones has missed the last 3 games with a knee injury. The running game was incapable of producing anything. 16 carries for 46 yards. Their defense couldn't get any pressure on P.J. Walker. 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits. They allowed the Panthers to rush for 173 yards without Christian McCaffrey. The Panthers put up 343 yards on offense. So, I mean, there's so much to talk about in this game. But Tampa Bay was number 1 in EPA allowed per play through the first 3 weeks. So we moved on them in the futures market. Week 4, we both moved on them. They're ranked 27th over their past 4 games. Akeem Hicks, Carlton Davis, questionable. Antoine Winfield in concussion protocol. Anthony Chesley left the game in the second half with a hamstring injury. Can you find some clarity in all of this? It's crazy. The Thursday nighter, Ravens Buccaneers. Take it away, Andy. The floor is yours.
Yeah, it just might be another. It might just be another under for me. Like a prime time under, short time to prepare. The fact that we haven't seen Andrews, and now we have another injury in the receiving core. If Bateman isn't practicing tomorrow, and there's 45 and a halves left, I'm probably going to fire away on that. So I'm close on this under. I haven't quite got there, but yeah, the Tampa Bay offense just not on the same page. Nobody's on the same page. Even when they do produce a good play, it's dropped by the receiver. That was their one good play, and it's crazy. They scored 3 points. How many times they only punted 6 times? Like they just drives were ending on downs. They were running into the end of the half. Like they didn't have that many drives. It didn't even feel like it was a very odd game against Carolina. And yeah, those two teams, that's how you cash a low under. Those two teams last week combined for like 6 for 24 on third down. I mean, that's how you get yourself. That's how you get yourself to keep off the scoreboard. But yeah, I'm leaning again towards under just based on what this Tampa Bay offense is right now. I think the defense is better than what we saw against the run. Maybe it was just a fact that they haven't got a lot of, they didn't know what the scheme was going to be with the split with Chuba. And apparently it was all him, but he actually had a nice, 60-yard run at one point. So I think this defense steps up a little, girds its loins. Tampa Bay is a better defense than that, and maybe the offense is just as bad as we think. And Baltimore is going to be in trouble as well with Andrews and Bateman dinged up. They're going to try to run the ball. Tampa Bay might try to run the ball too, and they're just not any good at that. They've had very little success running, especially on early down. So, yeah, if injury news keeps turning the right way on a short week, I am fine taking this under, especially after some of the comments from the Tampa Bay coach when we had a little press conference saying we're just we're fine running. We're running the ball early, even though it's not working. So if these two teams are gonna keep hitting their heads against the wall, it's probably gonna game that's gonna end up in the high 30s.
Why on earth then would this total go from 43.5 on Sunday at 7:49 p.m. to 45.5 now?
I don't know if it was some of the defensive injuries or what. I don't understand why this total's gone up. I'm fine anything down to 45. And like I said, there's 45 and a halfs on the board. If you go look, what's Penny at right now, Jimmy?
Penny right now is at a 45, and the under 45 and a half is minus 115. But today at 12 noon, the under 45 and a half was minus 105. It was actually juiced to the over. At 3:25 in the morning, you could have got this under at plus money.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like Pinnacle's moving that way. Chris is at 45 right now, so starting to see a little action. Again, it's still juiced to the over. It's over 45 minus 15. But yeah, I think I'm going to be looking at that under. Circus, somebody in the chat, Coin says Circus showing a 44 and a half. Sharper shops are starting to trend down. I tend to enjoy that when it's a side I'm starting to agree with. If I see the sharper shops starting to head that way in the market. So again, gonna take in the injury news tomorrow afternoon and probably fire on this tomorrow afternoon. I'll let you know what I do with it.
Nutflush Allen says, believe me when I say that everyone in the league wants their last shot at beating Brady before he is done. He says, everyone thinks Lamar and Brady points, not so fast. If I gave you a free $500 bet on a side here, on a money line with the Ravens at minus 116 and the Buccaneers at plus 104, what's your bet?
I would just take the dog. It's such a coin flip game. I'd take the extra 4 cents because I can't pick a side. I'd like to bet against the Ravens with these injuries, but the way Tampa Bay's offense has looked, it's been horrid. And really, too, I was actually pretty unimpressed with Gus Edwards in general. I thought they'd get a lot out of him against a Cleveland Browns defense that's just getting gashed every single week on the ground. Gus Edwards looked good, a couple weeks ago, and I thought, hey, it might be a big game for him. I get, he had the scores, but 16 for 66 isn't a great stat line against this Browns defense. So if they continue to not be able to run the ball and they try to put this all on Lamar, we might have another game like we had last week. And again, there's still a decent chance Lamar is not 100%. He's just playing through injuries at this point. So yeah, I'd take the underdog if you made me bet it.
T-Mac says, I don't know if Brady is bounce back material. He likes Baltimore. Brady says, I think it's Baltimore here. If the Bucs didn't have Brady, what would this line be versus a team that has lost to the Panthers, Jets, Packers? Interested to hear Andy's fair number here. Bo Jackson says Bucs money line, so he's backing the dog as well. LJ from H-Town saying Baltimore's been outscored in the fourth quarter 71-25 this season.
I make it like a pick. I make it generally a pick, but I'm not going to bet on Tampa because I just feel like that's not a good use of my money. I don't want to chase after my numbers betting on an underdog that's with an offense that hasn't been moving. They've had good news with their injuries at receiver, but yeah, the Bucs is not something. That's not how I want to start my week out. I'd rather bet against these two offenses. And that's the other thing too. Like I get the cases to bet against Tampa, but at the same time, Baltimore's offense didn't look all that great last week, and I think it's going to continue to have trouble, especially with more injuries on top of it.
9 completions Lamar Jackson had last week.
It feels like the Jets-Denver game with like, man, one of these shitty teams is going to win this game, huh?
Birdie's already bet the under. It is at 45 easily with a regular vig here. Harold Williams says, I agree. Don't understand anybody back in the Bucs after that game with the Panthers, Ravens, or the under or pass. Well, we'll be live here at Pub Sports Radio. We have a huge week ahead of us. So tomorrow night, we have the poker tournament live right here. The Bet Online poker tournament. Again, the password is Pub Sports Oct. That's tomorrow night. On Thursday night, Connor Mack will be hosting this Thursday nighter. On Friday, we're going to be live bet streaming Game 1 of the World Series hosted by Dabby Cab. Saturday, it's the Penn State game that Dabby Cab will be attacking Penn State, Ohio State. And then Sunday, we have the Bills Packers that I will be hosting. And then Monday, we have Bears Bengals. So it's just a packed week here at Pub Sports Radio. I guess this is probably a nice live betting opportunity once you see the flow of the game. I can understand why you guys want the under at 45. I have to respect that early cash that came in that pushed it. I won't.
And I do wonder on that with the early cash pushing it up and now it coming down with limits starting to trickle up. If it was just an early week push for other people to come back hard the other way, because early week cash sometimes doesn't impress me as much as when something gets hammered on a Wednesday. So it'll be interesting. This is a market I'm definitely, not only because it's the first game and we have to pay attention, but it's a market I'm very interested in watching tomorrow.
So for you, Wednesday, when the limits are off, that's the most important day where you're interested in the market movement.
You still, but you still see plenty of action on Sundays, like Fridays and Sundays. Once you have some final injury reports, if there's something super important, or Sundays. But yeah, like once limits are up, then you can start, I think, taking some of those moves a little more seriously.
I don't feel
their ass in gear.
I don't feel comfortable going up against that early move to the over at this point. And I don't think you guys being on the under is a wrong move. I'm going to have to sit with this for longer. And I don't know how you could back either team really from what we saw. I don't think the Browns are a good football team. And so letting the Browns hang around the way they did, I guess it's Ravens or pass, but then we need to figure out a few of these injury issues.
Yeah. Like the Ravens were at home and they'd given up 38 to the Patriots. The Browns had to go, the Ravens were at home. And then the weeks before that, the Browns had given up 38 to Zappy and 30 to the Chargers. They lost to the Falcons. They gave up 31 to the Jets. This is a defense that should have gotten a little more beat up. Like I'm a little low on Baltimore right now.
I guess
but the kicker, let's take the kicker props. There we go.
Yeah, Tucker's a beast.
He'll do fine.
I guess the move would be if there is a touchdown off of the top to live bet the under, and maybe that's what I will be doing, I guess. Danielson says over looks good. There's Mike Morris in the house. All right, let's move past it. No official picks from either of us.